Good evening, everybody, and welcome this evening to PSGL, Premier Sim Gaming League, as it's known by its long name, for Formula 4, F4. It is round 4. In fact, there's a lot of 4s in this, but it's round 4 today for the Belgium Grand Prix, the longest circuit on the Formula 1 calendar to date, and I believe the longest, obviously, on this PSGL calendar, obviously, as well, as we do not have classic circuits, just apparently come to the next game. So we have seen a lot of things to do with the new game this week, but we're going to be focused on the current game that we have for now, and that is F1 2020. And despite us having a lot of, let's say, a lot of intrigue for now about the new game, we still have to keep to this one. What I'm going to do quickly, just so I can make sure I can hear different things, I need to put the audios down, because the audios are absolutely terrible. Terribly loud. Now they're terribly quiet, but it's alright, I've done this before. But we'll have to wait and see this evening. There's a lot of things to talk about in terms of the Drivers' Championship and Constructors' Championship. Starting off with last round, we saw Vapor Nuff take the third race of the season. However, the championship leader at the moment, FRL Bread, who we're on board with currently, he'll be the first person to set a lap. He hasn't won a race yet, actually. And we have had, obviously, certain things in the past where drivers who've gone on to win championships here in PSGL have actually not won races, or have only won 1 or 2 races in the season to win the championship. But the reason FRL Bread is on top, and it is not either Chapelele, Bugatti, or Vapor Nuff, who are the 3 who have won the races so far, is simply because they're not consistent at the moment, whereas FRL Bread has been fairly consistent. Bugatti having a DNF and finishing 10th, and Vapor Nuff having a DNS and also an 8th place. And compared to that, Brett, he's not had a race win, but he's had a 2nd and a 3rd place, but he also has had a DNS, so it's all very, very close. Datamo is also another person who seems to be in the hunt as well, and he has not won a race, so he is 2nd place in the championship. But as we get the first round of laps coming through, Brett will be the first person to come through the first corner, and we'll have to wait and see this evening around this track. We're expecting times of 1 minute 40s, maybe in the 1 minute 40 highs. I doubt we'll get into the lows, maybe the mids. It just depends on how good the drivers perform here tonight, as he just comes on the Kemmel straight right now, coming through the chicanes now of turn 4, 5 and 6. And he's coming through No Name Corner now. Sorry if I'm a little bit quiet here at the moment. Bear with me. There we go. Right, so coming through Pouon now, turn 12. I was a bit quiet there for a moment, but FRL Bread, he's come through Pouon, and he's now coming through Sector 2. The Sector 2, Sector 3 split coming up in a minute. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm not too good with the sort of sector times or what you need to be achieving, but again, it is only the first run of laps, so we're not going to really see too much representation compared to pole position, unless it's set to rain towards the end of this session, which, being Belgium, is a possibility. Most league races usually around this track have rain at some point, and for some reason it seems to be at the end of every single qualifying session ever, and I have no clue why. But FRL Bread, championship leader, comes across the line, and he will be the first person to lead us, and he's got a 41.2 there, so very early out the gates. And Kazizel a 41.2, so a lot of them very close so far, 3 close times. Let's go on board with T's 24. Not a good start to the season for him and the Haas team. The Haas team have had a little bit of a struggle, not scoring any points as he comes through, and he's invalidated his lap. Datamo is across the line, he's just right in front of him, that's helpful. Where's he going to plop his car? P6 at the moment, so a lot of close times. Mike K is now the new leader of this, and now is at Kush, so both racing points coming out of nowhere, and both of them very close to each other as well. And Borek Baidev then goes top of the session. So a lot of places changing, it seems to be, for these drivers. And we talked about Haas having a bit of a poor start to the season. well, is their fortunes just about to change? I'm not too sure. It's way too early to say, but I guess it's a good start there for Beric Baidev in the Haas, as Devin goes second place. So a lot of people starting to get some laps in. Times are starting to go down very quickly, as we have everyone now not on a hot lap. Perhaps Sia is. I really need to find out what this guy's name is, because it could be anything with that J. It's a very confusing name for us for some reason. But here he comes, coming through the chicanes now. And he will be coming down to Bruxelles, which is turn 10, and then turn 11, which is no name. Of course, he's invalidated though, so we'll have to find someone else. Tease is also invalidated. And everyone invalidating. They're probably just coming in now to the pits, which is unfortunate. And so you do have to wait a little bit for some guys to come out again. The early going on to the softs though is a little peculiar. I wonder if we are going to see some rain here this evening. I have no clue though, as people will start to come out. Who is the first out? It would be Sasakir, who hasn't set a lap so far, so not much to represent himself off in terms of himself, in terms of improving or being obviously down on a time. But looking back at the championship, we talked a little bit about the drivers. The Constructors' Championship, Williams are leading that at the moment, Vapornuff and Dotamo. So no real surprise there. A race winner and also someone who has been one of the Mr. Consistents of the division so far. So no surprise that Williams leading that. But Alfa Romeo are in second place. They absolutely bossed out the first round around Bahrain. But since then they've kind of gone a little bit silent for a little bit, and Chapelele not here tonight, so that's not helped their sort of troubles in my opinion at all. But we have got Ginger here tonight, and Ginger's still quite close in 9th place there, but only 3/10 separating the top 10 at the moment, so very close between all the top 10. But looking further down, Alpha Tauri as well in 3rd place here in the hunt. As so is Racing Point at the moment, so interested to see how they do. And now here is Sasakir on his lap. We'll do a little bit of some commentary on this lap. So coming down to turn 1, which is the source, a little bit of lock-up on the front right. It is getting a little bit more overcast. I did suggest that potentially we'll be looking at some rain towards the end of the session, since it happens at Belgium. Then up the famous Radion, or Eau Rouge as you may put it. Obviously I'm not too sure about it, always been confused by it, but the Camel Straight is the next part of this track, which is quite iconic. Saw Sebastian Vettel, Sergio Perez, Esteban Ocon and Lewis Hamilton going 4 wide on the Camel Straight as he comes through Les Combes now of turn 7, 8 and 9, and as he has a little bit of a struggle there out the exit of the corner. Coming through Bruxelles at turn 10, and then No Name will be turn 11 on this slight left-hander as he gets a good exit there. Still a valid lap, maybe a little bit put off by the by the small half spin there as he goes through Pouon, and then coming through Campus and Stavolo in these next couple of corners. And it's a very good lap so far from the Red Bull, quite neat. A few mistakes though, and perhaps something that he wouldn't want to say he's completely happy with as he comes on the exit there, as he comes towards Blanchimont then, turn 17 and turn 18, and he will get a little bit of a tow there from FVR Simply Rush. Obviously I don't think that was obviously intentional from the Ferrari, well shouldn't be since they're not teammates, but it's also banned here. And then of course the bus stop chicane, which got its name famously because it looked like a bit of a bus stop in the past. It's not really a bus stop now, is it? It's just normally just a chicane there, so an interesting sort of dynamic when you think about it. But he goes 10th place, Asakir, so decent lap from him on the soft tyres. And then he's already been put out of the top 10. I'm not sure who that was who just come out of there, but some people now on better lap times at the moment. But it is the Haas of Beric Baidev in the lead at the moment. But the Tamo, one of the championship leaders at the moment, not the championship leader, but he is a championship leader. I'll leave it at that. There is no definite championship leader at the moment. if I'm going to be completely honest with you, because no one is clear. And this is what I like about this season. The last 2 seasons in PSGL that I've commentated over have been quite a struggle when it comes to competition at the top. This season seems very, very open and very exciting indeed in this F4 Championship, and Tunetank wants to be one of the players, and he'll need to have a good consistency performance here today to keep that up. He's gone purple through sector 2. He's 3 attempts up then as he comes towards Blanchimont, and then of course bus stop, the final 2 corners of this circuit. But it's very, very tricky really. You've got to nail bus stop. It depends on how his bus stop chicane was last time. If I do remember correctly, we got the exit, he was fine, but it goes a little bit deep there. Has that really ruined his lap? I don't know. Maybe he's lost him a couple of attempts, but has he still got top? No, he hasn't. So there we go. He probably lost there about half a tenth, did Tunetank, and that's lost him potentially pole position. Well, he wouldn't have had it for long either way, because Maxro takes pole position for now currently, as we're trying to find someone else. Vapor Nuff, he has invalidated. What about Isaac Kush at the moment? He is on a lap at the moment. Whether it's an actual serious lap, we'll have to find out here, as he now comes through Stavolo. Very tricky corner here. Don't invalidate on the exit. It's quite easy. He's up by 3 attempts there. I've seemed a little bit lenient on the throttle though at the exit. But he is almost 4 attempts up on his lap here. So this is looking to be quite a stunning lap here from Isaac Kush. And look how close it is. For the top 10 separated by 2 attempts now. It just keeps getting closer and closer, which is insane. But Isaac Kush then, he's coming through the final corner now, up to gear 3, short shifting, getting low revs, so it benefits his exit. And there we go, a brilliant lap time from Isaac Kush, a 40.7, and he is clearly in control for now. Here's Rowan though, he's 2 attempts up. That could have put him off a little bit. I don't know if he saw that on his screen, but on my screen it was clearly evident. And there we go, 2nd place for Rowan. So times are going down rapidly now towards the end of this session, and Isaac Kush is the current leader of this session on a 1 minute 40.750, but only 400ths of him is IFR Rowan in the Alfa Romeo. Yannick, a driver that arguably last week could have been in contention for winning the race, unfortunately didn't in the end, as it was Vapor Nuff who took that victory, and arguably also well deserved for that one for him. But for Yannick, of course, he'll be happy from last week getting P2 on the podium, first podium of the season, so he will be happy in that case. But as he comes through Eau Rouge right now, he perhaps wants to go 1 step further and get that race win. As he goes through sector 1, not much really time to make up. He hasn't set a lap time though, so it's quite crucial he gets a lap in. Did he complete a lap? Well, he didn't, it doesn't seem like, because otherwise it would have shown his delta potentially, but he hasn't completed a lap officially yet, but he has obviously invalidated some laps. But Yannick 11 coming through Bruxelles now, a tricky corner, bit of a lock up there on that front right, braking quite late through No Name now, trying not to get too much of the corner, it could cause you to spin. Then he's coming through the famous Pouan corner, which is, I swear, every year becomes more relevant for drivers, as it seems to be quite daunting through there, the same speeds you take through there around that long left-hander. Now coming through up to Stavolo at the moment, and a very tricky section again. As I say, you get this all wrong, you could be spinning halfway through the corner. And there we go, sector 2, purple through there. So a lot of time made up through that sector 2, where the time can be made up. And now coming through Blanchimont right there now, as he comes down to the bus stop chicane. 2 more corners to go, but it can be 2 crucial corners that could really set your pace of your lap. Purple in sector 2, very tricky though through the bus stop chicane, didn't look that neat, and because of that, that could have lost him about a tenth of a second there. It really did not look like a good bus stop chicane, I have to be completely honest. As Vapor Nuff, last week's winner, at the moment coming through on the Camel Straight as he comes round towards Lake Om. Is that rain on the visor? It is rain on the visor, so rain on the halo I meant, apologies. But well, interestingly then, we've got a little bit of rain here, so if any laps are going to be put in now, it would have to be desperate, that people would have to be desperately towards the end of their lap. And if I am correct, no one is at the end of their lap here. And oh my goodness, Mike K there. What a save that was. We caught that on board at the exit of pool one. Brilliant save there from the racing point. His lap is still official, so let's just keep on board till the second sector split. I'm intrigued to see what his lap time is. He's most likely down though. Yep, down by 3 tenths, so it doesn't look like Mike K is improving anytime soon. Sasakir will not be. Interestingly, Tease hasn't set a lap time yet. He's not had the season to remember. Has he, the Haas driver? And oh my goodness, he's all over the place. They're not exactly the greatest internet to help us out, and he has invalidated that. And everyone now, I reckon, is going to start retiring from the session. So unfortunately for Ginger, in 13th place, but I guess he'll be kind of happy. I don't know if we've got rain in the race though, because everyone was doing soft tyre laps. That could be just down to this session, but no one favouring the medium tyres. I think that's because everyone may have just gone the softer, the full-on softer like set of tyres, which obviously leads to that. Only having 4 sets, and the 4 sets they use are the 4 sets of soft tyres. As we are coming towards the end of this session, I don't see anyone else improving, unfortunately. And I've never really unfortunately it's going to be a bit of an I don't want to say, I'm trying to think of what to say. It's a bit of a boring finish really to the session. There's no last minute stand down. Drivers are trying, such as Max Rowe here. He is trying really to warm up his tyres, etc., but it's not going to work, is it? And oh my goodness, there we go. He's almost in a spin. And this isn't actually good. I don't know why drivers are going on an extra set of soft tyres, because that's kind of just a waste of a soft tyre there. So if there is a crazy race and we get multiple safety cars, then you may have just wasted an opportunity to put some fresh soft tyres on. But who knows? We've got 7 seconds left in the session, and there we go. Max Rowe just proving the point. But I have no clue how this race is going to turn out. It's Isaac Kush on pole position. Isaac Kush is in 9th place in the championship at the moment. So, like I said, it's a very, very close championship, and anyone from as low as at the moment, I believe, from 14th place can get the championship lead here today. And Isaac Kush is on pole position here. From Rowan from Kazizel in 3rd place, a fairly consistent drive from him today. Hopefully he can get on the podium for the first time this season though. Max Rowe in 4th, Yannick 5th, Burek Bailev in 6th, Datamo 7th, Devon in 8th, Sia in 9th, and last week's race winner Vapornuf in 10th. Everyone else outside the top 10. Quick snip of it, you only had about 3 seconds to get it, that was my fault. But an interesting race coming up. And the championship leader, Bread, I believe he's all the way down in the midfield. So, in fact, he's all the way towards the back, is Bread. And Datamo also not in exactly a representative position to his championship position at the moment. And I guess you could say the same for Vapornuf as well, also in the midfield. So, a lot of drivers in the midfield. So, this is really good for Isaac Kush, as he could make up a lot of places in the championship, or whether even he could take the championship lead. That is possible. He's only 10 points behind, but it would take a bit of an effort really for that to happen. Obviously he'll need a few scenarios for that, but We'll wait towards the session start, which should be in around 15 seconds time. And obviously, more hopefully, we're going to see a very, very interesting race indeed. A bit of a jumbled up grid, and we've seen it before here in F4. Every single race has had a different podium, really, and I don't believe we've seen people have 2 podiums this season. I don't think any driver this season has had 2 podiums, except from Bread. I've just completely overlaid myself completely. Bread has had 2 podiums, but despite that, every other driver that's featured on the podium so far has only had 1 podium this season. So that just comes to show how close this season is. And more interestingly, really, we've got a few others, and the tyre strategies here, soft or medium, bottom half going for mediums, top half going for softs, suggests to me that we're not going to see rain in the early stages despite the overcast conditions. And obviously the ones on the mediums are just doing a reverse strategy on the soft tyre drivers. But is that Kush? Wait, actually, I'm kind of wrong, because we had a dry qualifying, didn't we? They all qualified on the soft tyres, so a bit of a numpty for that one. So depending on when the rain comes, the strategy may absolutely be broken for Isaac Kush, well, for the top 10. Because they may have to pit. These soft tyres can only really make 9-10 laps. And if they do end up bottling this one, and there does rain does come around lap 10, and they've all had to pit the soft tyres, then Mike K would be the leader of the race. But anything can happen here this evening. Absolutely anything. As we just wait for all the drivers to line up and get ready to get this action started. 22 laps around the longest track on the F1 and PSGL calendar respectively, and we're almost halfway through the season. Only 10 rounds in this final season in PSGL, so we would have completed 40%, which is quite crazy because it seems like this championship has only just started, and well, it looks like we could be going right to the line by the looks of how this championship is going. A lot of drivers all over the place, sometimes at the front, then sometimes at the back, a little bit left, right and centre. But here we go then, the lights are coming on for all these drivers, and we get underway for this race. A bit of a tentative start from pretty much everyone. Barrett Baidev getting a good start there. This is going to be the crucial place. The Kemmel Straight is where we see, expect these two to be going side by side, but also expect this expect the Alpha to get involved. He doesn't, and obviously also Isaac Kush backing out, but also looking further back, going too wide there. You have a McLaren, and you do have a, I'm not sure, I think that's Datamo in 6th place and 7th place. So Datamo and Devon fighting at the moment for position, but looking further back then towards this battle, it looks like Datamo's come out ahead of that battle. Barrett Baidev slipping down a bunch of places. Look how close it is here as well. FRL Bread up to 10th place. Vapornuff, last week's race winner, down to 11th place, and he is struggling really. Has he got a bit of wing damage here? He has got a bit of wing damage, and everyone's everywhere. That's Mike K spinning round there. So down to 17th place goes the Racing Point, and that is him out of, well, it's not him out of the race, but as him out of contention for now. But Vapornuff struggling now with the wing damage there, and FRL Ginger right behind him then, looking to close in on the Williams ahead of him. A very tentative start at the front. Isaac Kush though losing out then to Rowan, but however he does have the DRS, so expect to see a bit of overtakes and switch rounds between these guys. and it is a very, very close grid here, so expect there to be a lot expect there to be a lot of DRS trains this evening, but also possibly a lot of overtakes for the lead of this race. But looking if the whole Delta thing would love to sort itself out, please. That's still not been fixed after all this time, which is just so unfortunate, because it would be so helpful to be fixed. But anyway, enough about that. Looking behind then, Isaac Kush then not looking for a move right now at the moment for the lead of this race. So I think we're just settling in now for the DRS positions. Mike K is not in the lead of this race. He's actually at the back of the field, so it's quite a poor sort of assumption. And there we go, it's finally fixed itself, thank God. It's fixed itself there, but looking at this, a bit of a struggle there on the exit for Isaac Kush, so he is pushing to keep with Rowan. So Rowan looks like the quicker driver right now then, as he does continue to pull away. It does look like Kazizel as well trying to push, but Tease I think is the one that's round. Yes it is, and Sasakir I think has been someone who has also been involved with this incident, so I wonder if those two have both gone sailing into the wall of some sort. Simply Rush already out the ERS in this lap. He's going to be compromised by his teammate FVR Charlie. I wonder if Charlie is going to send the move on his teammate. Probably would be good to do so, in my opinion. Probably to get up to 13th place, but not much to go off really. It's annoying because we have not got the updates on the intervals really in most places, so this is quite a poor sort of assumption of everything. It looks like Rowan's had a little bit of a mistake, perhaps, on the exit of one of these corners, because it does seem like Isaac Kush is back a little bit close again. But there's still a lot of things developing between the two of them. Isaac Kush then, he'll be coming up Eau Rouge and Radion. And the DRS is finally going to be open this lap. Third lap of this race means a DRS lap. And it doesn't look like he's going to be close enough to Rowan, as he does continue to close, but not enough to overtake. How about the Tamo behind? He looked like he was getting fairly close, but it looks like no overtake for him either. No overtake for anyone at the moment, so very relaxed. We're just settling in, I think, for the first couple of laps, and we should start to see some overtakes. And of course this is probably a big strategy game going on between all these drivers. But Devon at the moment in 7th place, looking like a decent position for the McLaren driver. His McLaren teammate FRL Brett in 10th place at the moment, but on the medium tyres, so that is quite fortunate for him. As we see a bit of a train though between everyone down to FRL Ginger at the moment, as Vapor Nuff of course is falling back. The reason being for that, he's got a bit of wing damage somewhere, so that's not helpful for him. But let's head back to the battle for the lead then, as hopefully we should see a little bit of action, as Isaac Kush I think is closer than he's ever been really to Rowan. Rowan started to struggle a bit with those soft tyres already. As we move on to lap 4, and this is going to be an interesting game now. Is Isaac Kush going to just sit behind at the moment? Or is he going to make for a lead? Is he going to look for an immediate move? Because Kazizel behind him is fairly close indeed. They're both close to each other. They're all basically on the same ERS at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see. But DRS open then. Here comes Isaac Kush then. Is he looking for a move? It doesn't look like it. So Rowan I think is going to stick out in the lead just for now. So everyone looking clearly quite close, but here's a battle here right in the midfield here. Datamo and Devon battling a little bit for position. I think Datamo was closing on Devon, and Devon's lost the position then to Datamo in 6th place, but Devon I think will come back. He's looking fairly decent at the moment, but he's just settling in. He's the McLaren driver at the moment. And obviously looking further forward, it's Isaac Kush who is still pressurising Rowan for the lead of this race. It looks like Devon is falling back a little bit from Datamo at the moment, so let's look just further back. Oh, and that's Buret Bidev who's gone into the wall, same place as where Giovanazzi basically lost it, maybe a little further up because he was closer to the corner. but he has lost the car, and once again it looks like a really, really dismal day for the Haas team. Now looking at how close this is, FRL Bread gonna be hoping he got the DRS detection there, because if not, he could be under a little bit of pressure here from FRL Ginger at the moment, and I don't think he did. And Ginger is pushing a little bit at the moment, so Bread could be in a little bit of trouble if he doesn't get in that DRS zone. It's just kind of not in his favour since he's on the medium tyres compared to the softs, but it looks like he's done it. As Simply Rush retires, I think that's in the pit lane. I expect that to be Baidev either retiring or getting onto a new strategy. He's gone for a new strategy instead there, so Simply Rush leaving the session. I'm pretty sure he got damaged, which is probably why he's frustrated and left. But at the moment we do see the lead of this race still continuing to be IFR Rowan at the moment, but Isaac Kush still quite close at the moment. Bread's just about keeping within the DRS range, which is keeping him alive. But Isaac Kush at the moment 4 tenths behind Rowan. When is he going to strike? He's probably going to strike just before the Discord. Sorry, just before the pit stops. I was looking at Discord, that was why I got confused there for a slight second. But just before the pit stop will be, I reckon, when we will see Isaac Kush look for a move. But perhaps he could be looking for it here as he gets fairly close through Blanchimont on Rowan. Rowan's used a lot of ERS, so perhaps this will play on the mind of Isaac Kush. He's run down Rowan's ERS and he's done a good job of it so far. These two relatively contrasting with it, and Rowan at the moment just about keeping his lead, but also Isaac Kush has to be careful because Zizzle is relatively close, and well, oh my goodness, he's really touching the back of Rowan pretty much. Isaac Kush there right behind the Alfa Romeo, so this is going to be very close, and Isaac Kush I think has already said, you can see how much he's closing, coming through Eau Rouge, he's closing a lot. We do know it's time for an overtake, says the Racing Point team. Maybe Kazizzle could have a bit of a go, get in the slipstream, and can he make a move? So is Isaac Kush past Rowan? What about Kazizzle? Kazizzle's just going to stick behind for now. Maybe that's an opportunity missed there for the Alpha Tauri, but he does stick in third place. Make sure that there is no incident, because obviously if you go for a risk and everything, it cannot pay off well sometimes. So Kazizzle looking to get past Rowan. Rowan, I think, is now starting to struggle. Isaac Kush has been set free, and it looks like he's now starting to clear off to the distance already of the Alfa Romeo driver behind, who just continues to lose time. The treatment of the tyres, I think, is important, and perhaps Rowan hasn't done that too well. Perhaps has led to him falling even further behind Isaac Kush. There could be a potential chance that Rowan isn't even in the DRS come the end of this lap. And as Kazizzle looks to close in, he's lost a bit of time as well. So, change for the lead. I think Kazizzle is pitting this lap. No, it does say at the bottom with the spanner, so he has obviously considered it at some point, pitting lap 6, but he's pitting perhaps a little later than it says on his dashboard. At the moment, everyone pretty close to Tamo, perhaps looking for a potential move. He's got a lot of ERS to play with, but so does Maxro to defend. So this is going to be a bit of an interesting battle here coming up to the corner. Tamo has a little bit more momentum than Maxro, and he's really tried to urge for the move. That's not going to help you, is it, Maxro? The grass isn't going to speed you up, it's going to slow you down, but fortunately for him, the momentum just not there for the Tamo to really cruise it through. But there goes Burt Baidev out of this race, so only one Haas remaining, and Haas not scoring points this season so far. So just like real life, it's a bit of a mare of a season so far. I think Tizo will keep faith. He's in 13th place right now, is the Haas driver, and yellow flag through sector 1. That's just because Burt Baidev's retiring in the pit lane. So Dotamo at the moment just sitting behind Maxro. No one's moving for position. Isaac Kush has made a move, but just because of this DRS train, we cannot get much action other than an overtake for the lead at the moment, which isn't a bad thing. But it does make the content quite difficult. Rowan, I think, needs to score some points this season. Haven't seen him much up there, so this is the first time I've seen Rowan really up there. And considering that he's only raced one race and he DNF'd, and as everyone comes into the pits now, this will be an interesting strategy for all of them. Who has stayed out though? Maxro, Dotamo and Sia. And talking about Maxro and Dotamo, they're battling for the lead. This is not the lap you want to be battling for the lead, considering at the moment this is a lap where they can make up mental grounds on a few other drivers who have already pitted. So perhaps not the best lap to really battle this one out for these two. Maybe settle it at the Kemmel Straight, but it looks like going defensive is Dotamo. But what about Maxro? Maxro's got to look for the corner. He's just going to sit behind at the moment. That's probably a good move there from Maxro, but at the end of the day, these two need to make sure that they speed up for this pit stop that they've got coming in a lap's time, because this is not helping them battling it out and being slower than each other and holding each other up. Behind him is Bread Ginger. And then behind that is Charlie, who's on his own, and also Mike K as well, who had a little bit of a spin at the start of the race at the exit of Puan. So at the moment though, it's a very, very intriguing race. Ahead is Isaac Kush, Rowan. Yannick has actually jumped Kazizzle somehow. I don't know how he's done that, whether Yannick pitted a lap before and I just didn't notice it. But Yannick jumps Kazizzle, which I think Kazizzle's going to be a little annoyed about. I wonder if he's been held in the pits potentially. But who would have he been held in the pits by is a good question. As into the pits come the top three now. So now it'll be FRL Ginger leading the way of this FRL Bread leading the way of this race, followed by FRL Ginger. So these two all out alone at the moment, and they're in a little bit of a tussle now for the lead of this race. Whether they're going to do that or not just depends. But Bread sitting just behind at the moment, and Ginger sitting behind him, and these two on the medium tyres, they're going longer. But here comes Ginger, then Bread, the championship leader, about to lose the race lead, and Ginger takes that race lead easy as you like, really, with the DRS. But obviously this isn't a battle for the race lead. This is a battle, well, it's a battle for a race lead, but only provisionally, as the real race leader at the moment would be Isaac Kush, who's actually got quite a cushion away from Rowan. 1.4 seconds right now, so a bit of gaps now starting to form a little bit. Maybe this is the battle we should be looking at. Yannick versus Kazizzle, and also put Devon in that as well, because Devon's in this battle as well, same with Dotamo, etc. But they're just behind this train. It is definitely better to be at the front of this train with Kazizzle than it is probably being Dotamo or Maxro right now. As he gets closer, does Kazizzle. Kazizzle's not going to overtake into this corner, I wouldn't have thought, obviously, because DRS would be quite crucial, really, as he comes, obviously, up the Kemmel Straight would be the best thing to do. But Kazizzle, at the moment, just holding back on Yannick, perhaps looking for a move in the next corner. And Yannick 2.2 seconds behind Rowan. So Kazizzle wants to think about winning this race. It's actually a crucial move for him in this race, and he comes up Eau Rouge. It's not exactly the greatest of exits. He's a little far from Yannick, and he's got a bit of a margin left to go. Is he going to look for the overtake here? He's getting closer, but just sits behind in the end. Not close enough then to really overtake the Renault up ahead. I mean, unfortunately at the moment we've got a bit of gaps at the moment. And obviously this is a bit of a waiting game for all these drivers. They're not going to really be pushing at the moment. Well, they're going to be pushing, of course. They're always on the limit, these drivers, but they're not exactly going to be looking to get overtakes. Looking to get overtakes immediately. There's a long way to go in this race, still half the distance to go. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see, as Kazizel's just falling back a little bit now from Yannick. Anyway, back to battles then, and back to a battle here. This is a battle for, it's not a battle for the lead, but Mike K just about to be overtaken by Isaac Cook. And, well, this is not good for Rowan, because these two are teammates, and there is a chance that Mike K could kind of hold up Rowan. And I think the frustrating part is here. It's in sector 2. And there is no overtaking places in sector 2, is there? So Rowan at the moment will be struggling to catch up with Mike K and overtake Mike K as well. But obviously we will see Isaac Kush start to move away from his rivals behind. This is where things either go well for you or they don't go well. It's how quickly you can get past the back markers. Or maybe not the back markers, would be quite rude to say, but the people who have got to pit, it's important to get past them immediately. And even more infuriating for Rowan is the fact Mike K will have the DRS, as it looks like, on Isaac Kush. And for Rowan that's not good, because he has to be stuck behind the 2 racing points even longer. As Yannick, 2.4 seconds between him and Rowan. A very, very long gap between the two of them. And again, no opportunity for Mike K at the moment. But looking further back, Yannick in trouble from Kazizel. Is Kazizel going to look for a move here? No, he just sits behind again. He's had a bit of trouble, hasn't he, Kazizel, trying to get past Yannick. Don't want to leave it too late. Found out in the in the F3 race last season, Lakitu in Italy held back on, was it M Short? I was trying to figure out who it was. Held back on M Short, overtaking him in Italy, and in the end his tyres were just so bad, and when he wanted to make the overtake it just couldn't be done. So leaving it too long isn't exactly the best thing to do for Kazizel, as Devon right behind him, 6 tenths behind Kazizel, and of course Kazizel 6 tenths behind Yannick as well. So again, not much battling going on at the moment. Rowan, though, getting a little bit closer to Mike K. Mike K does not have the DRS this time. So for Rowan, this is quite a crucial move. I think the annoying factor for Rowan is the fact he will not have the ERS advantage from Mike K. So Mike K would be able to use it a lot more, but whether Mike K wants to do it, I'm not too sure. he will be a little bit of a hold up, I reckon, for the Alfa Romeo, as the Alfa Romeo gets closer, looking for a move to the outside then. So Mike K really helping his teammate there, moving to the outside, but Rowan gets the inside, and it's nice and easy. Looking further back, Kazizel getting a nice and easy move, it looks like, on Yannick for now, but Devon just behind as well, perhaps looking to sneak by as well. So Yannick doesn't seem to be having the pace at the moment, but Mike K is now lingering behind, and now for Rowan it's a big catch-up game for him. He's got a little bit of a road ahead now to catch up with Isaac Kush, but Isaac Kush looking quite clear for the moment. And as we return to the action, there's not much really going on. Isaac Kush sitting behind FVR Charlie, sorry, as FVR Charlie actually pits this lap. So for Rowan, not good news for him really. No traffic now for Isaac Kush. No traffic for Rowan, I mean, but Rowan 1.4 seconds behind, and well, both are in a similar situation, but I think it is kind of a pain for these two drivers. For a driver who could be in a little bit of an annoying situation could be Yannick at the moment. Yannick not having the best exit there. This opens the door a little bit for Devon. Devon sitting back a little bit, but Yannick looking maybe for a move back on Kazizel. He's closing, but just decides to sit back at the moment. So this race is starting to open up a little bit. Not too much, but it's starting to open up a little bit. And this trailer cars Kazizel, Yannick, Devon, Datamo, Maxro, Sia, all together 3rd to 8th place, looking to fight for that 3rd position at the end of this race. And Maxro obviously with a big disadvantage of the 3-second time penalty, and also being towards the back of the train is also not a very good advantage at all. But the Kazizel at the moment, he's just chilling. I don't think he's rushing too much. Well, Kazizel just sticking away from Yannick at the moment. It's more this battle for 4th place though, isn't it? Yannick doesn't seem like he's got the pace so much compared to Kazizel, but Devon slipping right behind the Renault. Devon not exactly looking for a move to guarantee anything, but here's a chance for Yannick to make his move back on Kazizel. He's got the momentum really up El Rouge. Has he got the momentum? He has. Again, Devon seems to get a better one at the exit of the corner, but here comes Yannick. He's going to settle it out, get past Kazizel. It seems like Kazizel maybe looking to lose 2 positions here as Devon always kind of half-hearted that one. Devon, he didn't send it at all in the end. He kind of just thought yes and no at the same time, and that could have ended in disaster for the McLaren. And Maxro going very wide there, and that's not going to help him out at all. He may even lose a position there to Saya. He doesn't. At the moment, sitting behind this train is Otamo, just watching the action. And now Kazizel's playing the struggle game as he continues to drop from the others. But yeah, because it's all falling behind and actually almost out of the DRS, which Devon was very close last time. He'll become even closer. But Devon just not quick enough to keep up with Kazizel at the moment. Datamo just behind. Datamo maybe looking for a move on Devon. He's very, very close, isn't he, Datamo, towards the McLaren, but maybe not the right time to make the move. Everyone's still in a little bit of a train. Extends now to 9 drivers, and more interestingly, we'll have the soft runners at the back of this grid. FRL Ginger in 9th place. He's closed up the gap significantly to these guys. Is he going to now look for the overtake on Sia? He's very, very close, but is he close enough? Is he going to send it? It's going to be a big, big send if he does. Oh, he doesn't. It's a good choice, in my opinion, from the Alfa Romeo driver as he looks to get closer to the Red Bull in front of him. And Sia right now in 8th place, just about keeping his position, but look at Ginger all over the back of him. But the thing is, Ginger hasn't got too much time to spare. Only 6 laps left in this race. So for FRL Ginger, time is not on his side. If he wants to end up getting a podium today, there are moves that need to be done. And Sia is blocking pretty well, not blocking, but he's defending pretty well, putting his car in the right places. As, oh, look at that, how close they get to each other. I think there was a little tap of the rear there from Ginger on Sia, but it doesn't exactly help his tracks to potentially overtake the Red Bull, as he's now got to use a little bit of ERS to boost that momentum upwards. Is he going to use a little bit more? Yes, he does. So is he looking to eye up this corner? You know he is. Here he goes down the inside. A brilliant move this will be. I don't think he's going to get it though, because look at this. Sia has the line there. Ginger's going to be pushed onto the apex a little bit, and he's going to be stuck behind, but it looks like into the first corner he is going to be ahead. And oh, never mind, there's a virtual safety car. That's come at a very awkward time for Ginger. He sends it down the inside of Sia, and a virtual safety car comes out at the exact same time, and I believe that was Tease who was the cause of it. So for Tease, he's out of this race, and again displaying a very, very poor start to the season for the Haas team. And for Ginger, he's lost out to that one, and I think that's rather unfortunate. Back to the front of this train though, Yannick and Kazizel. Kazizel at the moment just falling dramatically behind these guys. This Ginger seems to have closed right onto the back of Sia again. And Ginger just closing in. Is he going to send it this time again? He is going to send it. This one a little bit more audacious. Last time was audacious enough that he couldn't make the move, but he could do the switchback here. This is going to be quite a good move here from Ginger, isn't it? He goes round the outside though, and that's the move done from the Alfa Romeo. Nice and easy there for Ginger. Lost him a little bit of momentum though, and potentially has lost him out of DRS as well, and most certainly it will do, as he's not got the DRS, so it looks like Sia's going to come back. Excuse me there, we get back to the action. So Ginger didn't get past Sia in the end. Sia came back at him. And these two just losing momentum as the laps go by. So for Ginger, with time running out, as I have said, it looks like Ginger's not going to make any more progress really from 9th place in my opinion, because the soft tyres are just going to drop off compared to those mediums. Looking further forward then, Kazizel is a bit closer to Yannick. Not close enough though, in my opinion. It's quite close, but not very close. But here he comes then, Kazizel. The battle for third place then towards the end of this race. We'll be moving on to lap 19 any second now. 3 laps to go, and Isaac Kush, without any sort of infringement, he will be winning this race. Vapor Nuff gets a 3-second penalty. He's not in the hunt though for the race win today. And Yannick will be only the second driver at the moment to have 2 podiums to his name this season, and other than FRL bred. However, here comes Kazizel, who's not been on the podium so far, been close but not been there, and he's now onto the podium, it looks like. For now, the Renault looking to come back, and the Renault could be under trouble for Devon, as Devon getting absolutely tagged in the back there by Datamo, as Datamo perhaps getting a little bit desperate as well. So all of these guys starting to get a bit desperate to kind of start to move position, but it looks like Kazizel has benefited from Yannick kind of fighting back at the exit of the corner, which probably wasn't necessary from Yannick. Just go again next lap. And as we look now for the battle for third place, the leaders, well, there's no battle between them, hence why I've not been on them for quite a long time. But it looks like Devon quite close to Tamo, quite close. They're all quite close to each other. They're not close enough to catch up with Kazizel, and look at that ERS factor quickly, 46% for Kazizel, and the rest of them are roughly around 20%. In fact, Yannick is less than 10% left, so I think Devon will feel quite encouraged by this to potentially make a move then on the next lap, as he does look to close that gap a little bit to the Renault ahead of him, as late braking there really from them. And look at that, down the inside goes Ginger, so Ginger's caught right back in this battle, and you know what, Ginger potentially looking to actually make up a few more ground here. He's got 3 more laps. He could make up a couple more positions, but Devon and Yannick looking very close to Kazizel. Is Yannick now finally going to go for the move on Kazizel? He does, and is Devon going to follow him this time? Devon just kind of half-hearted, and again it is just about almost screwed him over. This time he kind of gets it sorted. Maxro has another go at Ginger. Ginger though gets away with it and gets that 7th place, but Devon now under pressure from Datamo. Datamo has kind of got way too close to Devon's rear end sometimes, and even has tapped it a few times as well. So we're getting very close between those two at the moment, but this battle for third place is not over at the moment. 3 more laps to go of this battling, and out in front though, Rowan just not closing in enough on the leader. That is Isaac Kush. It doesn't mean to say that there's no battling on the track. The battle really at the moment would be this battle for third place. A train of cars and Ginger at the back of it really now. Excuse me there. And potentially for him could even be a podium potentially, but he'll need a lot. He'll need to do a lot very, very quickly to secure that sort of fate. But this is what I'm saying here though. Kazizel has a lot of overtake to use there. He's got a lot of ERS to debate with and use properly. Yannick does not really have much, and Devon doesn't exactly have a lot here. But I think more interestingly, this is where Kazizel's most likely going to set himself up to get past, back past Yannick, because here he goes up El Rouge now, and look at that slipstream, much better momentum. Devon's right behind as well, so Yannick will be in trouble from Devon as well, it looks like. Is Devon finally going to have a go at him down the inside here? He does, he commits to it this time. Devon to the inside. He does push Yannick off the track, but Yannick moving down 2 positions. Devon finally commits, and he moves up to 4th place. So Kazizel now in the top 3, but also Devon in 4th place. So Devon looking to potentially close that gap to Kazizel now, and the annoying thing is for the everyone behind, Kazizel has a lot of overtake to play with, and he will use that how much he pleases on this lap. as he does continue to get away from all the rest of these guys. Looking further back then, Datamo at the moment is likely to be under pressure from not Kazizel, Ginger for 6th place at the moment, as Ginger's on the soft tyres, but Ginger, of course, tyres would be degrading quicker than the guys in front of him, which obviously means potentially for Ginger a few tyre problems towards the end of this race. And what I mean by that is just being a bit slower than mediums and potentially even puncture territory for him, depending on his setup, of course. Shouldn't be the case as this track is very rare you'll see punctures, but Ginger perhaps would want to be look at the closing. It's the final lap of this race then, and for Ginger it's a very important final lap. I don't think the top 5 is possible now. Maybe looking at a top 6 would be pretty good for him, as it comes up Eau Rouge. It's a pretty decent one, but the Tamo, they're all very, very slow. Yannick at the moment struggling for ERS. They're going to go 3 wide into the corner, it looks like. No, they're not. It looks like Ginger's opted probably the more difficult option to go round the outside, and he's got it done. That's a brilliant move there for Ginger, up to 6th place. Datamo up to 5th. Yannick falling back majorly. Devon not able to close in on Kazizel. That's not really surprising, is it? Since there has been a lot of ERS for him to use up, and he's used quite a lot of it, so no surprise really that Kazizel's kept his 3rd place. Isaac Kush, though, they haven't really spoke about him for the second half of this race, and well, he's just been clear of everyone else today, and well, he's about to take his first victory of the season. It's his first podium of the season, and now it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drivers now, 9, 10 drivers on this field for the first 4 rounds, I'm pretty sure, to score a podium now, as Isaac Kush comes across towards the final corner and then across the line to win what is a well-deserved P1 for Isaac Kush. Rowan finishing 2nd place as a reserve, finishing on the podium, a really good result for him. Kazizel finishing off that podium positions, but Devon and Datamo in the top 5. Datamo, I believe, will go to the top of the championship. Maybe Isaac Kush has, I'm not entirely sure. Datamo picking up 6 points would mean he's on 26, and more importantly, where's Isaac Kush? He's on 12, and he'll be plussing 16 onto that, which will be 28. So yes, I believe now Isaac Kush is the championship leader now for now, because there could be some incidents. There didn't seem like too much incidents really to talk about, let's be real. But Isaac Kush just knows he's done well today, and he's won his first race of the season, and it's kept up the record really now. 4 drivers to win a race this season, and well, I mean, more surprisingly, we finally have, well, beforehand we didn't, but now we finally have a race winner that's leading the championship, since the last 3 aren't at the top of the championship. But we'll be back for the Netherlands next week, which is obviously just up the road really from Spa-Francorchamps at the Zandvoort. It's not too far between the 2 circuits, and Zandvoort not the best of circuits in my personal opinion, but we'll have to wait and see. But here are the race results then. Isaac Kush taking a much well-deserved victory. Rowan in a much well-deserved 2nd place as well. Good result from both of them, too, clear of everyone else. Kazizel finishing 3rd place, starting from 3rd, finishing 3rd. Devon moving up a couple positions to finish 4th. Datamo finishing 5th. Ginger finishing 6th after starting 13th. Good display from him. Yannick 7th. Bread, the previous championship leader, in 8th place. 9th place is Max Rowe, and 10th finally is Sia. And there is everyone else's race results if you wanted to know. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to be doing some podium interviews, since I'm not really too keen on it personally, and also I do need to head away. But with that, that was the Belgian Grand Prix, and well, it was a fairly interesting Grand Prix. Not much really to go off, but towards the end, like always, it does seem to spice up. But it was a decent race no matter what, and the winner for tonight is Isaac Kush, so congratulations to him. A brilliant race from the Racing Point, and he takes your championship lead going into round five. But with that, it's good night from me. Noah will hopefully be back next week after he was a bit unwell this week. So hopefully we will see Noah back next week in the comms box with me. So I'll speak to everyone soon. We'll hopefully have a good evening. Good night.